when we talk about Colton and talk about the kind of guy he is and the guy I'm eager for everyone to see, I think you get it because, there's a perception of people on the show, and I think people had a perception of you. And that's not really who Ashley is, and that's not really who Colton is.
No.
And so my job and my excitement is like to expose that. Like, I want people to see, no joke, but people are, you're more than just the crying girl on the show.
Yeah,
there
more
is
than my
this, there is the
caricature.
depth there, and there's this lovely woman, and there's this girl I've gotten to be friends with. Same thing with Colton. There's a great guy who I've gotten to be friends with, and he's a good man. He's a very sincere guy, and it's more than the jokey, virgin poster.
Right.
And there's so much more depth to it, and eventually we get to that. And I knew we would, and that's why I really want to get by night one. The premiere is going to be awesome, January 7th. Spoiler alert, you and Jared are a part of night one. I'll
Yes.
just leave it at that. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. But I'm eager to get by night one and get to the meat of this season because it's really compelling.
So you're saying we're going to get away from the virgin stereotype, the
Yeah,
caricature
well,
that you guys
it's
have painted?
the cocktail joke.
Okay.
And look, we leaned into that as much as anybody, so I'm not mad at anyone for making jokes. And,
Yeah.
and Colton has a good sense of humor too. And the girls get out of the limo, and night one, it's where all bad jokes go to die, and so we beat it to death. But just know that after night one, we move on.
Are you sure about that? Because Megan Mullally is there on episode 2, I hear.
Right,
and
Nick
they're-
Offerman and Megan Mullally.
Yes, and they are going around in circle asking girls what their first time
I'm
was.
not saying we don't reference it again. I'm just saying and Megan Mullally and Nick Offerman are great comedians. So after that, good comedians take over and make real good jokes.
Okay.
Yeah, we have some good guest stars this year.
Well, what about fantasy suites? Do we address the issue again with fantasy
Oh,
suites?
of course.
Yeah.
I mean, look, the best way to describe the whole virginity thing is that it is an arcing story, but it's just that it's one of many stories we deal with, and
Okay.
there is the beginning where it's kind of anecdotal. Then you get to this revelation of why Colton is the way he is and the man he is, and then you have the conclusion of is he still?
Yeah.
And what happens in the fantasy suite. So yeah, it's an arcing story, and if we do our job right, we do just that, just like a movie, and we take you on this ride. But there are so many other things to deal with as well that it does a disservice to him and the show to just say it's a story about virginity, because it's
Right.
not.
Okay, so I think there's one girl, Kaylin, and she has a story that you're not even going to
Yeah.
say is dramatic.
Yeah.
Could her story possibly reveal why Colton is still a virgin?
Well, Kaylin, it's funny, Kaylin has a couple of stories because we have a couple of Hannahs. One of the Hannahs is Hannah B. She's Miss Alabama. Kaylin's Miss North Carolina.
Okay, so do we have some beauty pageant drama there?
There's some beauty pageant drama that spills out onto the Bachelor scene.
You know how to handle this, though.
I do.
Because you have hosted Miss America a zillion times.
Being, and again, Miss America is not Miss USA, very different, but
are they
the
both Miss
drama's the
USA?
same. They're both Miss USA. So
Okay.
they were in the same pageant, Miss USA, and they clearly they know each other. Their
Yeah.
paths have crossed, and that comes out again. But aside from that,
Yeah.
you're mentioning something about Kaylin, and you're right. There is one of the more emotional, revealing conversations we've ever had on the show. And kudos to her, and much respect and admiration for the story she tells. And I would never in a million years tell her story because it's hers to tell. But I think that made Colton feel comfortable,
Okay.
and maybe even made him feel like he owed it to her to open up in the same space, and like she was so open, and it was an emotional conversation, the likes of which we've never had. I mean, really, and it was tough for us as producers and camera. We really just wanted to pull back as far away as we could and just let them do their thing.
Okay.
And it's compelling, and you'll see it all.
Okay. So this isn't the point in time where Colton goes to a producer and says, "I'm scared."
No. This is just, you see it all. You'll see it all unfold, and it's emotional though. There are tears, and there's a lot to it.
All right. Well, let's talk about some other women we have going on here. Nicole May beat me in tears, you say?
There is a girl on the show. She's from Miami, speaks Spanish, equally a lovely woman.
Thank you.
Quite beautiful, speaks Spanish, and cries
So much.
a lot.
Does she get far?
Like Ashley I cries. She doesn't not get far.
She doesn't not get far. It's the middle of the line here.
We'll see. I can't tell you how far she goes, but enough to see a lot of tears.
Okay. We have a sloth on night one. I'm assuming that Alex comes dressed as a sloth.
Such assumptions.
Such assumptions, right? We
assumptions.
have to have an animal every year. I'm assuming Alex
There's
is
been
that.
sharks and dolphins, and actually I think
It's actually a
the
shark
same, it was the
dolphin,
same
yeah.
one, yeah.
Cupcakes?
Cupcakes.
Speaking of Cupcake, guess what? One of the girls has dated Cupcake, and you guys probably didn't even know that. Yeah.
Is that true?
Yes. And I think she may have been one of the pageant girls.
Do you know the name? Oh,
I forget. I'm gonna have to
Either
ask
Kaylin or
Cupcake.
Hannah.
Yeah.
wow.
I think it was Hannah.
Look at you breaking news.
I know.
I mean, look, it's a small incestuous group. It's not the most shocking thing.
Yes, I know how it goes.
Yeah.
There's also, we have to ask, who is there most for social media? Who's there for all the Instagram followers?
All of them?
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't? I mean, look, if you're not there for the gram, why are you there?
Well, you know.
And if it doesn't happen on the gram, does it really happen?
So is this season going to give us any twists?
For sure. I mean, there are twists and turns that, and again, it's not the, oh my gosh, Bachelor drama. It's real life.
Okay.
Gutty, raw drama.
So by you saying that, that makes me feel like he just happily picks one girl in the end. Is this the case? Is there any drama surrounding maybe his top three?
No, I don't think that's a safe assumption.
No.
How this show ends, you cannot safely assume.
Okay, so you're saying that a big twist could happen.
I'm saying towards,
final
I'm
three.
saying it's a roller coaster ride, and towards the end is where it really gets wild.
The catchphrase on, I think, the promos has been, you're going to see something that you've never seen before.
Yeah, that's true.
That gives us a lot of things to like put together.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I always say inevitably on this show, things happen along the way. In every season that we've never dealt with before. It happened on your season. It happens just because you're dealing with so many personalities and you're dealing with people's history and past and issues and how that comes out and how that's presented is always different. It really is. Sometimes it's more dramatic than others. Sometimes it's not a big deal. Others, it is unlike anything you've ever seen. And this is, you talk about, it felt edited or whatever. This I promise will not feel edited.
Okay. Okay. Well, I always get excited because then I start thinking, has that happened before? Has that happened before? So it does get the fans very excited.
It does, and there's a lot to look forward to this season. There really is, and that's why, I know there's naysayers and people were upset that he's the Bachelor, he's not, or whatever. First of all that means is you care, and those people are going to be watching.
Okay.
And so I'm not worried about that. I'm
Me
just
neither.
excited. I'm just excited for people to watch because I know we have the goods. I know what's in store, and it's good. It's really good.
What was really good was the scene of Colton jumping over the fence in the first promo.
Yeah.
I'd like to joke, and I think a lot of the Bachelor family likes to joke. It's like, oh, he probably lost his tie, and he's jumping over the fence to get his tie, and they made it look all dramatic. In the promo that you guys did for Chris Soul's season, there was a pregnancy test in the bathroom, and it was never addressed. Is the jump going to be addressed, and is it actually dramatic?
There are times on the show when, well, first of all, let me deal with one thing, because there are things that show up in the teaser and the trailers that don't ever end up on the show. That's sometimes it's on purpose, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just due to editing. By the time you get to that week and that story, it's not a big deal. Like we got to deal with Ashley I or something, and something just takes precedent. We only have so much time. Say we have this much time, we have this much stuff, and then we got to move that much stuff into this. So, but I will say that this moment is not anecdotal. It is impactful.
Okay.
He did not just lose his tie.
Okay.
Although I think all of that did come off and before it all happened. But it is something that happened, and it happened while we were on the road, and I was trying to reach him and and talk to him.
Like he needed a pal to talk to, or he just wanted to bounce out of the Bachelor bubble?
He needed less of a Chris Harrison pal talk, and he needed dad talk.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I was going in for the dad talk.